do have a timeout. Decide not to use it. Curry, way downtown. Bang! Bang! Oh, what a shot from Curry!
All right, what is going on, everybody? How is everybody doing today? Welcome back here today to another episode of the Just Ballin' podcast. It is Friday, March 29th, and I will be giving you guys not a 5 Things Friday. I was not able to kind of sit down and record a 5 Things Friday for you guys before then, so I'm going to be reacting to Bleacher Report's newest mock draft ahead of the Sweet 16. This came out on the 27th of March, so this is very recent. I did react to Jonathan Wasserman of Bleacher Report's mock draft a few days ago. That was a completely different one, so now we have a new one today where it's a full 2-round mock draft ahead of the Sweet 16, and I will say I had a lot of question marks with the one I reacted to on my Ross channel. There was like Rob Dillingham went 2 to Detroit. Yeah, there was a lot of weird fits. Jacoby Walter went really late. Ryan Dunn went in the second round. So we're going to see if I continue to agree or disagree with any of these today. If you guys are listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, don't worry, I'm going to obviously be reading out everybody that's mentioned. If you can leave a rating and review over there, it would mean a lot. I would appreciate it a ton. And if you're watching on YouTube, appreciate you dropping a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments what you guys think of this mock reaction as well. I'm just so excited, man, like, because we're, like, in the middle of, like, college season, in the postseason. Like, we're getting, well, not in the middle, like, we're in, like, the part of it. And then we got, like, the end of the NBA season, and then it's draft season. I'm excited, like, the combine. Man, it's a great time to be like a college fan or a draft fan and stuff. So stay up to date with the content. So the first pick we got here is Alexander Sarr, number one pick going to the Detroit Pistons. See, like, the Pistons are an interesting fit because I think it could come down to them or another team that maybe questions Alex Sarr number 1, but I think it's getting towards a lock. I think him number 1 overall. I think he's one of the safest but highest upside picks here as an elite rim protector defender at the end of the day if it doesn't work out. Like, I think, like, locks, Washington would take him number 1. Memphis would take him number 1. Portland would take him number 1. I think it gets interesting with Charlotte, San Antonio, and Detroit because they've invested lottery picks into centers over the last couple of years. But San Antonio, you can make Sarr and Wemby work, so I still think Sarr would go to San Antonio. I think they would still try to make it work with Jalen Duren in Detroit and Mark Williams in Charlotte. So yeah, I think Sarr goes number 1. Like, obviously Toronto would be great, but yeah, Sarr goes 1 to Detroit. I like that. Sarr, Risache number 1. If he had Rob Dillingham number 1, that'd be kind of crazy. He does though have Rob Dillingham number 2 to Washington. I don't like that too much. I think I would still opt for either Risache. I would opt for, I think, Nikola Topic maybe. I don't know, though. I like Rob Dillingham a ton, and I actually don't mind the fit of him in Washington, but I think it is kind of high to see him drafted number 2. But it's such a wide-open draft. Like, I think Ron Holland to Washington could be fun, but Washington has a ton of wings they got to develop right now. Like, they got to invest a lot into Bilal Coulibaly. Denny Avdia, they're obviously investing a lot into. They've re-signed him. Kuzma's still under contract, even if he's not part of their future plans. Like, until they move him, they got to play Kuzma 30-plus minutes a night and allocate 20 or 15 to 20 shots a night. You still have Jordan Poole, and you got Tyus Jones. I don't know. I mean, this is such a perfect Alex Sarr team. Makes me think Washington's going to get lucky in the lottery. I don't know. I just feel like the lottery gods are going to go Washington's way. You can't really predict a lottery, but I think I'm going to be like Washington's going to win it. Rob Dillingham, though, combo guard. Can play with Tyus Jones, can play with Jordan Poole, does well with the ball in his hands. Almost a 3-level scorer. I mean, not like the most athletic player in the world, but an elite shooter at the end of the day. And I think has a pretty high floor as well as a guard. Washington is just an interesting fit. I don't hate it. I don't love it. But seeing Dillingham at 2 is still kind of shocking. So next up at number 3, he's got Zachary Risache going to the Spurs. I mean, this is a great option for the Spurs because they can go Risache or they can go Nikola Topic. I like Topic to them over Risache in my opinion, but I also think they could run some really fun lineups out there with, like, whoever their point guard is. If it's Trey Jones or someone else, they can have Vassell at the 2, Risache 3, Sohan 4, Wemby 5, because Keldon Johnson has been kind of disappointing this year. So I don't mind them adding a wing. Obviously, a point guard would be great. Maybe they get in the market. Maybe they end up trading for Trae Young. Maybe they bring back DeJounte Murray. I doubt that. But I think I would look for Topic here, but I get the appeal of Risache and his floor spacing ability and his length and versatility next to Wembanyama, because that could be exciting. And then you got a French duo, which is pretty dope. I can't lie. So next up at number 4, we got the Charlotte Hornets selecting Ron Holland. Now, I think all for Ron Holland being my second graded wing in this class. I think Risache is number 1, barely. I think Ron Holland 2, and he's surpassed Cody Williams. I'm starting to like Matas Buzelis a little bit more than Cody Williams. I just don't know if I see the touch in Cody Williams' game right now. But I do think Ron Holland is a little bit more polished and ready for the NBA level. He does need to work on that outside jumper, so having him and Mark Williams out there at the same time is a little iffy floor spacing wise, but he could be really fun playing alongside Mark Williams defensively because Holland does have good defensive upside. And I think needs to work a lot on the outside jumper and his playmaking ability a little bit. I'm just wondering too, like the fit of Charlotte, if that's a good enough like situation for him right now too, because Charlotte's not a good. I mean, it's I think trending in the right direction. We'll see thinking grown-ups in the room this offseason. I think they should move on from Miles Bridges. I think you have Brandon Miller who cares. You moved on from PJ Washington. You moved on from Hayward. You moved on from Rozier. I'm hoping Nick Smith cares. And then you've got LaMelo Ball, who sometimes seems to care and is sometimes healthy. I think Ron Holland, this is a good situation for him. I wish they went in a new direction from Steve Clifford. I think I don't know. He's a fine coach, but I just feel like for this team, they should move. Like, this could have been a perfect Ime Udoka team, honestly, last year. But I like Ron Holland at 4. I like it more than Cody Williams. I've been starting to think about like Stephon Castle as a good Charlotte fit as a combo guard next to LaMelo Ball in that backcourt in the post-Rozier era, but I don't mind Holland there at 4. So I think my biggest question mark is definitely Dillingham 2 to Washington. Just it seems high for Dillingham, you know? And like, I don't know. I feel like Wasserman is pretty low on Nikola Topic. He had him like back end of the top 10 in my reaction to his other mock draft. So Portland, Reed Shepherd. I don't know how I feel about this. I think I don't really like this. I don't know. I've never really mocked Reed Shepherd to Portland before, so I haven't really thought about it. I mean, a 6'3" guard, more of a 2 than a 1, but can be a playmaker, but more of like a spot-up guy, a facilitator. Like I use the connector piece because that's kind of what he is. Someone that's going to make the right pass, but know when to take his shots, good in transition, good ball handler. And I said, like, he's a solid passer. I just don't know. Like, is this going to hurt the development of Scoot Henderson? Is this going to hurt the development of Anthony Simons? Is it worth it when you have Shaedon Sharpe as well? But then you're looking at the rest of the draft board. I have Reed Shepherd graded out over Stephon Castle. So in this case, you take best player available. Is this too high to take Donovan Clingan? I would hate Tijon Salon here. You could talk me into Cody Williams, but with Ron Holland off the board, I don't see this. This would be a perfect trade back situation for Portland. Because if Portland ultimately ended up with, or like, I don't know, maybe you take Stephon Castle here, but Stephon Castle is similar to Reed Shepherd. I think if you're Portland and you ended up with like a Cody Williams and a Donovan Clingan in this draft, I think you're okay with that. And at this point, you can maybe trade down a couple spots to take Cody Williams. But I honestly don't hate this. I don't hate this. At 5, I mean, Portland doesn't need Nikola Topic, right? They don't. Matas Buzelis could be interesting here as well if he's like the best remaining wing on your board. I'm still Williams slightly over Buzelis, but I'm trending the other way. I'm starting to get lower and lower on Williams more I watch of him. But yeah, so we got Reed Shepherd at 5 to Portland. I'm okay with it. I think I would opt for Buzelis, but this team isn't going to take Nikola Topic, so I'm fine with Reed Shepherd at 5 because I would take him over Castle. 6, he has Stephon Castle going to the Toronto Raptors. I like this fit because I think Castle could be more of like a slasher off-ball wing too. He's a fine ball handler right now. I don't think he's a point guard where we kind of projected him to be when he was coming into UConn this year. But maybe he's more of a point guard at the NBA level. I mean, he was playing with Tristan Newton, Cam Spencer, and ball-dominant guards there for the Huskies, so he could definitely play alongside Emmanuel Quickley in that backcourt for sure. That could be a really good backcourt going forward. And then you obviously have RJ Barrett, you have Scotty Barnes. I mean, this team could use a big man for sure. I even recently mocked, I'm actually not going to, actually no, you guys already saw it, but I had Tyler Smith going to the Raptors later in this draft as well, right? Was it Tyler Smith? Yeah, now I'm second guessing myself. Or no, I maybe had Tyler Smith going to Atlanta. Now I'm forgetting. There's so many mocks are being made. I love it though. It's really cool to like see the different scenarios. But Stephon Castle, I think I don't mind to the Raptors at 6. This is actually pretty good. I think if you like Cody Williams or Buzelis enough, that would make a little bit more sense. In my opinion, like those individual prospects. But I like Castle enough where I think it's fine at 6 to Toronto. 7, we have Donovan Clingan going to Memphis. This is the highest I've seen Clingan be mocked, but he's had a very good tournament. He had a very good Big East tournament. I could see it. I could, because Alex Sarr, I think, is perfect in Memphis, but I think Clingan would be a whole lot of fun with Jaren Jackson Jr. there. Because if Memphis is in the top 5, it would be, I think, a reach to take Clingan in the top 5. But I'm like thinking, like, would you rather have Donovan Clingan or or Cody Williams. I think it's up in the air. I do like the potential of Matas Buzelis, though, in Memphis for sure. I think Reed Shepard would be a good fit there. Also, it's too probably early to take like a Dalton Connect. I'm a big Tyler Smith fan, but that's also early as well. You know what? I don't hate it. This is the highest I've seen Donovan Clingan go, 7. And to Memphis, him and Triple J in the front court is nice because I always envisioned Clingan's going to come in and be a solid backup. I think he'd start right away. They moved on from Steven Adams. I mean, they could still maybe roll out Brandon Clark and Triple J in that front court, but I think it's more likely they would roll out Triple J at the 4, Donovan Clingan at the 5. I can talk myself into that. I don't hate it. It's a little shocking seeing him at 7, but I don't hate it. Next up at number 8, we got the Rockets taking Nikola Topic. All right. He's got Topic going all the way to 8. I don't like the fit. Like, Topic is going to be your 3rd string point guard next year, and I know he could honestly benefit from being in the G League to acclimate him into the NBA environment and ease that process coming overseas. But I know the last year, Fred VanVleet's contract, year 3 of it, it's not fully guaranteed. So, yeah, it could be Topic and Amen Thompson on that team. I don't know, though. I think if I'm Houston, I mean, Clingan could have been a pick, but now they got Steven Adams, that wouldn't really make a lot of sense. I like Buzelis to them, honestly, a little bit more, because you're still going with a raw prospect, but I think he gives you a little bit upside for how that team is constructed right now, and he could be behind Jabari Smith Jr., or you can even play him alongside Jabari Smith Jr. and have a 6'10 forward at the 3 spot, when Dylan Brooks might be there long-term, we'll see. Same thing about Cam Whitmore if he's the full-on answer. I don't like Topic to Houston. I mean, he's the best player available for how this mock is constructed, but I like Buzelis better to Houston at 8, and I also hate Topic to the Rockets, but I also hate Topic going number 8. Like, I think that's too low. Number 9, we got the Utah Jazz taking Matas Buzelis. I honestly would have just swapped these picks in the mock. I would have had Houston take Buzelis, and if you're going to have Topic go this far, I would have had Topic to Utah at 9, but Buzelis ends up to Utah. I actually don't hate this fit. Taylor Hendricks has been kind of up and down in his rookie season, and I don't think is definitive like the long-term 4 spot. So Buzelis could be a fun, fits that mold of like a really tall, lanky forward. Fits that mold with Kessler there and Lowry Markkanen, and they obviously drafted Hendricks last year. So I do like Buzelis to Utah. I like that fit originally. I just think, I don't even think 9's low for Buzelis. I was just more like questioning that Nikola Topic mock. So, Buzelis to Jazz at 9, I'm a fan of. Number 10, we have the Atlanta Hawks taking Cody Williams. This seems like where he's going as of late, and I could see this a little bit more. I'm getting lower and lower on Cody Williams. I still think he's talented enough to be a lottery pick, and a top 10 pick, I'm fine with it. I don't know if I like Atlanta taking him at 10. Yeah, I think I had Tyler Smith go to Atlanta at 11, which I kind of love that. Cody Williams, though, like another wing that is kind of raw coming out of Colorado is going to be beneficial. Like, it'd be beneficial with him playing alongside Trae Young. But that's such a logjam for him to try to get minutes between DeAndre Hunter, between Jalen Johnson, between Bogdan Bogdanovic, I can't really say AJ Griffin anymore because they would obviously prioritize Cody Williams over AJ Griffin. Saddiq Bey tore his ACL, so even if he was coming back, he would not be kind of heavily involved into that rotation anyway because he'll be injured. So Bogey could be gone. You have Jalen Johnson, who's a staple and is definitely going to be there and might even get extended this offseason, which is intriguing to see how much he'll get. Yeah, I don't hate Cody Williams to Atlanta. I don't. I think how the way that this draft is constructed, 10, I think is great value for Cody Williams. And they'll have another first rounder from the Kevin Huerter trade. And Williams does possess pretty high defensive upside. Chicago at 11, Jared McCain. Oh my God. I hate this. I don't like this. I think this is high for McCain, but I see the appeal of him in the lottery because he's a knockdown shooter. He's an elite shooter, and I think we saw that with Grady Dick last year. There's a reason why. McCain is a 20-year-old freshman, so he's not on the older side, but older for a freshman. I like McCain as a prospect. I don't like him in Chicago. Why are these people still mocking guards in Chicago? Right now, they still have Zach LaVine and Alex Caruso. They have Ira Dosunmu and Kobe White. Let's get some forwards on this team. Let's get some competition for Nikola Vucevic at the 5 spot. I like McCain, though. I like him as a prospect. I don't like the fit in Chicago. Unless they move on from LaVine and Caruso, and it's a trio of Ira Dosunmu, Jared McCain, and Kobe White, and they're all playing 40 minutes a night next year. That I could get behind. You could have 4 guards. I think it would make sense if they moved on from LaVine or DeRozan. We'll see what they do in this offseason. I like McCain as a prospect. I'm fine with him in the lottery. This is actually not too... it's kind of shocking. I've not seen him at number 11 yet. But Chicago is such a weird fit. Thunder at 12, Terrence Shannon. Oh, my God. Terrence Shannon 12. This is also the highest I've ever seen him mocked. All right. People are going to really fall in love with Terrence Shannon. He's on the older side. He's 23. He's a very skilled offensive player, kind of a 3-level scorer. But I mean, I don't hate the fit in OKC but okay, so OKC could use a bench scorer. It's not worked out with Gordon Hayward, and they could use a primary like wing offensive guy off the bench, score first. Why not just take Dalton Connect over Terrence Shannon? I mean, Shannon's even older than Dalton Connect. So I don't really like that. I don't. I would take Connect here if I were OKC. 13, Filipowski, Portland. I like that. I've mocked that before. I think they could use his offensive skill set in that front court. So in this mock, they ended up with Reed Shepherd and Kyle Filipowski. I mean, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine when you look at it in like the macro view of it. So Kyle Filipowski could be like somewhat of an offensive hub off the bench. Good post like decision maker. Could score inside. Could pass. Could also space the floor, which is nice. I wonder how he's going to be at the NBA level. Is he going to be physical enough? Is he going to have the confidence inside? Or are they going to actually feed him in the post in the NBA level? Because he's not going to be the best player like he is on Duke. So I'm worried about his fit a little bit. Next up, we got Isaiah Collier to the Pelicans at 14. I've mocked this a ton in the lottery. They could look for a big man here. I like the idea of Tyler Smith. I mean, Jacoby Walter's still on the board on his mock. Dalton Connect is interesting as well, but I've mocked Collier to the Pelicans plenty, so I'm cool with that, them getting a point guard. And I think Collier should go in the first round, or excuse me, not in the first round, in the lottery. Yeah, obviously he should go in the first round. Philadelphia getting Dalton Connect at 15. I like this. I think this is a high upside play. Or I think high upside for their bench. I mean, like they're going to be losing a decent amount of points per game in the offseason with Buddy Hield and Tobias Harris potentially leaving. So let's bring in Dalton Connect, who could be a cheap off the bench scorer. Him or Jacoby Walter, I think I'd be fans of for sure. I wonder who Daryl Morey would like more. I feel like it would be Jacoby Walter. But I've also mocked big men to them as well, which they may just do in free agency again. So maybe I should stop doing that because they don't really draft big men. I feel like that have been that vital to their rotation. I'm trying to think the last like big men they drafted. Because I've seen Jaden Springer, we've seen Tyrese Maxey. I don't really know. Like we've seen Ricky Council go there, Isaiah Joe. I don't know off the top of my head. Like, has it been B-Ball Paul? Has it been? Maybe. B-Ball Paul and like Embiid was 14. Okafor was what, 15? Simmons, I won't call him a big. Interesting. And they drafted Zaire Smith as well in 2018. Interesting. Just kind of thinking out loud to myself. So the Miami Heat getting Devin Carter at 16. I love this. This is a Heat culture dude. There's been like, he's been flirting with staying at Providence on Twitter. This dude should go to the leagues, man. He is so freaking good. Combo guard, elite rebounder, good 3-point shooter, solid ball handler, good defender. Yeah, this man may go like top 20, or he's going to go top 20. He should. I would love my Knicks to take him at one of their first rounders because of his defensive ability. And like Wasserman uses the Derek White comp. 100% see that. I think he's like this year's Brandon Podziemski. I've said that a ton. Raptors going Kel'el Ware at 17. I like Kel'el Ware. This is the highest I've seen him mocked, and I'm fine with this. The Raptors, this is via the Pacers, need some big man depth. So I like this. And under Darko Rajakovic, under Bobby Webster, Masai Ujiri, this could be a good environment for him because I think for Ware, more than some other prospects, it really depends on where he ends up because I think his environment is going to be really big for how he's going to just kind of excel and be at the forefront of his progression in the NBA level. Will his motor be high, his motivation? And I think this would be a good environment for him. And I like him because he could space the floor and he's a good rim protector. And he could really give Doc Caperto a run for his money. Tristan Da Silva, 18 to the Suns. I can't say I love this to the Suns, this fit. I think Da Silva should go in between like that 22 to 30 range. But there's some other prospects I kind of like here. I mean, with Ware off the board, I get it, but I would look at Yves Missi if you want to go big man. I would look at Tyler Smith is still on the board. I get not wanting to take Ryan Dunn here. Zach Edey, I mean, I think I have Da Silva ranked higher than Edey in my big board. I got to update it now, kind of like March Madness is going through. And I'll do my top 30 prospect ranking as well once the national championship game is over. But Tristan Da Silva, 18 to the Suns. I'm not the biggest fan of this fit because I think they could use some big man depth. I mean, the Suns, it's more just, I mean, they just got to hit on this pick. I think I would take Jacoby Walter here because this team has no draft capital. Bradley Beal's on one of the worst contracts in the league. Even when this team is fully healthy, they're not a lock to even make it to the conference finals. Dude, I'm scared about the Suns' future. It could be real bleak in a year or two. Orlando Magic getting Jacoby Walter. I mean, 19 felt like always a perfect Jared McCain fit, but with him off the board, I like Walter. 3D upside, 3-level scorer though upside. I think he could be a good, efficient scorer at the rim, even mid-range as well. But I think 3D is probably kind of his linear path here. But I don't know. I think he's got a lot of room to grow. Orlando could be a good spot for him and could really excel his defensive ability. At number 20, we got the New York Knicks taking Tyler Smith. Let's freaking go. I love that. Big man that can handle the rock, pretty looking jumper, can space the floor, talented post game or inside presence, and good defender as well at 6'11", 220. Hell yeah, man. He puts like 10 more pounds on, keeps that jumper and that athleticism like up to date with the NBA talent. This could be a steal. I mean, I'd be thrilled if the Knicks got Tyler Smith. Thrilled. I don't know. I think he should be a lottery pick, though. I do. I hate the Channing Frye comp. I think I see more in him. Definitely more defensively. Yves Missi going to the Hawks at 21. Yeah, I think they could take a big man here. I mean, he has them getting Cody Williams earlier. This is a team that could move on from Clint Capella in the offseason. If they're keeping DeJounte Murray and Trae Young, and obviously they drafted Kobe Buffkin last year, maybe don't want to crowd that backcourt. So I like the idea of Yves Missi to back up a Kungbu. Hopefully they move on from Capella. We have the Knicks again at 22. I've seen them getting mocked Kevin McCullough so much. I don't really love Kevin McCullough as a prospect. Like, I'm fine with it. It's not the worst in the world if he can actually be an efficient bench scorer, but I don't really see like his jumper translating all that well. Like, I feel like it could be a little slow at times. He's 23 to the gate. I think I would still tend to Ryan Dunn. I know there's the offensive weakness there, but I'd like Ryan Dunn. I mean, if Isaiah Hartenstein's going to leave in free agency, I mean, they got Tyler Smith, so I'm not going to say get Zach Edey, but there's some talented guys still on the board here that could potentially go. Like, I'm trying to think. Like, I wouldn't know. Like, one of my guys, like Hunter Salas at 22, maybe. I like KJ Simpson a ton out of Colorado. But yeah, we'll see. Johnny Fairfield to the Cavs at 23. We'll see if he declares or not, but he could be a good three-point shooter for them right away. But I think he's going to stay at Kansas. You have the Ulrich guy who I still have to watch more of, but he's 18 years old, very raw as a prospect, going to the Wizards. I'm not going to even try to pronounce his name because I don't know it. It's like, I would say it is Ulrich or Ulrich, and then he's out of the NBA Africa Academy, 6'11", 18 years old, from Cameroon. He's given the comp to Serge Ibaka. I mean, yeah, that's pretty good. What did he give Yves Missi's comp to? Yves Missi's comp was Mark Williams. Okay. Next up, we got the Pelicans taking Jalen Tyson. They got Isaiah Collier before. I would look at big man here. I think this could be Zach Edey. I think he would be a little bit more needed than Jalen Tyson. And I don't know how I feel about Jalen Tyson in the first round still. He's like a fringe first rounder for me. I'm going back and forth. At 26, this is the Tijon Salon play. All the way to the Bucks at 26. I don't love Salon as a lottery pick. I never really did. But I think 26 might seem a little low with his upside offensively as like a 3-and-D guy. He has a pro comparison Obi Toppin, but I think he's going to be a more consistent shooter. Minnesota getting Keyshawn George at 27. I think they could be in play for a point guard here. Plenty of them still on the board. Bob Carrington, Tyrese Proctor, AJ Mitchell out of Santa Barbara is still here as well. They could look for other wings like Dylan Jones is still on the board, but I like Keyshawn George as 3-and-D upside as well. Bobby Klintman going to the Jazz at 28. Let's get more length. I mean, they ended up with Buzelis before. Bobby Klintman here, 6'8". I mean, I've seen as high as 6'10". So that could be a play here because I think he's a good swingman, and I think more athletic too than people may give him credit for. Tyler Kolek going to the Nuggets at 29. They can get some point guard depth here behind Reggie Jackson, and they could eventually take that spot, and he's NBA ready as well, and he's a winning guy. He's 23 years old, which is kind of crazy. Zach Edey he has as the final pick to the Celtics here at number 30. That would be kind of crazy. Zach Edey is a Celtic. I'm cool with them going in the first round. I'm fully admitting that to myself because I think he's just a safe backup big man option, and that's something Boston could use and could use some size. And I think they should definitely draft somebody in the first round just to get that 4-year rookie contract. And their bench has been very inconsistent, so I think that would be kind of nice for them to really have some stability on a 4-year rookie contract and better bench players. So we'll get on to the second round here. KJ Simpson to the Raptors at 31. I think he's better than Cody Williams as an individual player. Obviously, he's a little bit older and definitely doesn't have as high as upside, but I like KJ Simpson. If he went in the first round, I'd be okay with it. He has Dylan Jones going to the Jazz at 32 out of Weber State. Also okay with him going in the first round because I think he's a pretty talented scorer, and I think he has high upside as well. But the only thing about him is he's kind of like a tweener. Will he be a 2? Will he be a 3? I don't think he has a good enough handle to be a 1. So that's something interesting about him at 32. Bob Carrington, Spurs at 33. I like that a ton. I mean, I'm just going to scroll all the way back up to who he had originally going to the Spurs. He had, was it Reece Shea? Yeah, so it wasn't a point guard. So they get a point guard here. And Bob Carrington, I think I would take in the first round. So getting him at 33, I think is pretty good value. And the Spurs, we'll see if they end up with 2 first-round picks because of the Toronto Raptors pick. Now, wait, did he have... I'm trying to think. Did he have the Raptors in the top 5? No, yeah. Okay, so the pick is top 6 protected, and that's where he had Stephon Castle going. Okay. So next up in the second round, we got Baylor Shireman out of Creighton going to Portland. So Reed Shepard and Baylor Shireman just getting some sharpshooters in this draft. And Shireman, I think it's a little high at 34. I think there's some athletic guys I would take above him. Ryan Dunn specifically. Why are we having Ryan Dunn in the second round? AJ Mitchell as well. I don't think I would have him go after Baylor Shireman. So that's a little interesting of a fit. Next up is AJ Mitchell out of Santa Barbara. Great size for a point guard, 6'5", 190. And I think could be a nice kind of combo guard as well. And I think Milwaukee would be, this is a good draft for Milwaukee. T-John Salon and AJ Mitchell. Next up, Pelle Larson to the Pacers at 36. Why does he hate Ryan Dunn? Like, Ryan Dunn is an elite defender at the end of the day. And I know we can't shoot the ball right now. I don't know, man. I don't get it. Like, Herb Jones, I feel like, wasn't like the best shooter. Maybe I'm thinking about him or somebody different. I feel like Herb Jones had questions about his outside jumper. I mean, I know it's bad for Ryan Dunn, but this is crazy. 37, Jamal Sheed. Wow, ahead of Ryan Dunn. That's crazy. He's a good defender on Houston. I think should be a second-round pick. Top half of the second round is kind of high, in my opinion. Harrison Ingram, 38 from UNC. I mean, he's been a sharpshooter. This is where I've been starting to mock him now as kind of those early second-round picks, kind of in between that 36 to 43 range. So I like that in Memphis. He was a Stanford guy, and you know who else was a Stanford guy? Zaire Williams, and that really didn't work out. But he's on UNC now. Adem Bona going to the Knicks at 39. I mean, like a high, good hustle player, high motor. I like this as kind of an offensive spark plug off the bench. Could give Jericho Sims a run for his money as the backup center, or if Hardenstein leaves. Oso Ighodaro going to the Trailblazers at 40. I mean, he's a first-round talent. Getting him at 40, I think that is good value for Portland for sure. I like that pick. Ryan Dunn, Sixers at 41. I mean, yeah, I love that. Dalton Connect and Ryan Dunn in this draft, and you're getting Ryan Dunn at 41. Wild. Matisse Thybulle is his comp, and it's sad because, like, Matisse Thybulle is still a better shooter, like, coming out of Washington than Dunn is now. But Dunn is such a good defender, man. Like, when I watch him, I'm like, this is what we saw Casey Wallace last year do at Kentucky, but Wallace is obviously a much better offensive player, or at least shooter. Like, Dunn is still a solid slasher. He's a good finisher at the rim, just he can't really shoot the ball. Justin Edwards, high upside play to Charlotte here at 42. Definitely needs some time to develop in this league. I think should stay another year at Kentucky, but he might declare. It's looking like Pakome Dadiak going to the Rockets at 43. I like this. He's got a smooth, quick-looking jumper, good defensive upside as well. He could be a first-rounder for sure. I've been hearing a lot more about him as of late. Next up, we got the Miami Heat taking Melvin Ajinka. I think I've seen him as high in the early first round, or not in the early first round, but like in the first round, towards the back end of it. 19-year-old swingman out of France, going to the Heat there at 44. Another high upside play. I like Jalen Bridges here, 45 to the Spurs out of Baylor. He's a talented offensive player, man. I think he should 100% be a second-round pick. 46, we got De'Ron Holmes. Yeah, what? I had De'Ron Holmes, like, right outside the lottery, and he's got De'Ron Holmes 46. I guess he really doesn't see much in De'Ron Holmes. I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, what else do you see in some of these other big men? Like, what do you see in Justin Edwards more than De'Ron Holmes? I guess it's the ball handling ability. I don't know. I know De'Ron Holmes is kind of dependent on being that center, like the center of the offensive focus in the post, and he's not going to be that at the NBA level. I mean, the Clippers get him at 46. That's a steal. 47, the Wizards take PJ Hall. Good offensive, talented big man. A weird size if he's 6'9". It says he's 6'10". I've seen a lot of 6'9". Could be maybe lack the physicals to be a big in the NBA level. But if his outside jumper could be somewhat respectable, he could make money in the league. Coleman Hawkins out of Illinois. First time I think I've seen him in the second round here. He's obviously been very good for them as they've been the Big Ten champion, and then obviously they're making a run in March Madness. He could be a solid wing scorer at the next level off the bench. I love this pick. Cam Jones, Cam with a K, Sacramento Kings at 49. This dude is a straight bucket. He kept Marquette alive when Tyler Kolek and Oso Ighodaro were hurt. This dude is a really a talented offensive player. I think should be a mid to high second round pick, maybe. Can we start the train on that? Hunter Salas, Magic at 50. It's crazy because I remember reacting to Kevin O'Connor's mock on the Ringer, and he had the Magic, funny enough, it was the Magic, taking Salas, but they're picking the first round at like 17. And Wasserman has Salas going 50 to the Magic. And I know Salas had a ton of hype after Wake Forest beat Duke. 50 seems low. 50 seems a little low. I'm probably more in like that 40, 35-ish range on Salas, I think in between the two. It's just wild that every, I think, outlet has such a wide, like, variance on these prospects, which I love. Like, at the end of the year, I'm gonna make a big board, like my big board, and then we're gonna look it up next to like Kevin O'Connor's of The Ringer, Jonathan Givony of ESPN, Jonathan Wasserman of Bleacher Report, and I think it's gonna be cool to look back on some of these boards in a couple years on who was right and who was wrong, because I think like the past couple of drafts, it's not been chalky, but everybody was still in like that same like 5-pick range. This year, huge variance, which is very exciting. Peyton Sandford, Iowa, Pistons at 51. Can't say, I don't really know much about Peyton Sandford, so I'm not going to talk about him. Jackson Robinson out of BYU, 52. Also don't really know much about him. Haven't really scouted him. I think these new second-round guys, I got to look into a little bit more. We got Trey Alexander, 53 to the Pacers. Damn, man. Is Alexander really going to go in the back end of the second round? I like this dude as a fringe first-rounder. When I mentioned those point guards before, I also should have mentioned Trey Alexander. It's crazy how low he has him here. 54, we got Cam Spencer going to the Lakers. Love that. Lakers fans would also like, I don't know. That'd be such, I mean, I think Cam Spencer can play in those bright lights of LA. And I think he should be a second-round pick because he's a smart, talented player, and he still has the size, and he's an elite three-point shooter. So that alone, I think, could be something at the next level. Antonio Reeves, I think, should be a second-round pick. Warriors here at 55, I think, is pretty good value. Skilled offensive player. Judah Mintz has definitely fallen off. I think he was a fringe, like, top 20 pick going into the year. Remember, like, Riley Kugel as well from Florida. He has them going to the Nuggets at 56, so they get another point guard because they got Kolek before. Grizzlies taking Tristan Newton from UConn, similar to Antonio Reeves. I think should definitely be drafted in the second round for his skill as an offensive player. Johnny Broome, I think as a defender, it says he's a center, 6'10". Yeah, 4 or 5. He has a skilled offensive game, but I think has some nice defensive potential. And then that's it at 58 and that was the Mavericks because there's 2 picks that are forfeited. So I hope you guys did enjoy listening and watching me react to Bleacher Report's newest Sweet 16 mock draft. If you guys did enjoy this on YouTube, I'd appreciate you dropping a thumbs up. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. And if you are watching on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, I would appreciate a rating and review over there as well. And yeah, I'm excited. I'll be back talking to you guys probably on Monday. So be on the lookout for that. And then 5 Things Friday should return next week. I love you guys, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.